Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have an episode for you guys you definitely want to stick around for, so make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So, yesterday, Andre Iguodala made some very silly comments about Giannis Antetokounmpo. During an interview on the Dan Le Batard show, he essentially said that Rasheed Wallace would be one of the best players in the world if he played today in this current NBA, and he would be better than Giannis. And then, of course, he couched that statement with, "Oh, and I love Giannis," right? That's basically what he said. And we produced an entire show, about a 15-minute show yesterday, just reacting to those comments. And a lot of people, the majority of the people that engaged with that particular show that we produced all thought it was just a ridiculous thing to say. And I said it then, and I'm going to say it now. I thought that was just a wrong-headed thing to say, and it exhibited a lack of respect that a lot of these guys, former and current NBA players, that they have for Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? These guys they don't really respect him, and I think is one of the reasons why you can see a situation in which you see Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving lose to the Brooklyn Nets in round one. They get swept. The Brooklyn Nets lose to the Boston Celtics. They get swept in round one by a Boston Celtics team. Then Giannis takes that same team to 7 games, put up better numbers, had a better shooting percentage, and somehow people like Skip Bayless and others still find reasons not to say that Giannis Antetokounmpo is the best player in the world. There's always some type of angle when it comes to Giannis. So this morning, while we're doing research, I stumbled upon a segment from The Odd Couple with Chris Broussard, and that's traditionally hosted by Chris Broussard and Rob Parker, but they had a special guest, and I want to make sure I'm getting his name right, Ephraim Salaam, right? That's his name, and he's doing a fantastic job with some of the segments that I've seen him do. And during this particular segment that I stumbled upon this morning, Chris and Ephraim made a profound revelation about the hate that Giannis Antetokounmpo gets from former and current NBA players. But before we go any further, this video is brought to you by a sponsor, Aura, who's also the official sponsor of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is today? It's identity theft. Imagine trying to log into your email only to see that your password has been changed. Then you start getting weird notifications from your bank and credit cards, only to find out that all of your personal and sensitive information has been totally compromised. If you think it can happen to you and your family, just know that in 2020, over 49 million Americans were victims to identity theft, costing them a combined $56 billion. That is why we are excited to partner with Aura, who's the sponsor of this video. Aura is the #1 identity theft and financial fraud protection. Aura monitors the dark web and alerts you if any of your passwords and accounts have been breached. And funny enough, after using Aura, I discovered some of my credentials were floating around in the dark web, and the app showed me exactly when and where the breach happened. In addition, Aura allows you to set spending alerts, and they'll notify you of any suspicious transactions. Aura is 4 times faster than any of its competitors in alerting you if someone is trying to open a credit card or obtain a loan using your name. And remember this, every 14 seconds, someone becomes a victim of identity fraud. Don't let it happen to you. Now click the link in the description and try Aura for free for 2 weeks and see if any of you or your family's personal information has been compromised. Start your free trial at aura.com/dreamerspro. And when you try Aura by using the link in the description below, also know that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So let's just get into this exchange. It's quite lengthy, but we want to play it in its entirety to give you guys the full breadth of what I'm talking, of what this video is going to be about. So take a listen to what they had to say here, and then we're going to really come back and get into this video because you don't want to miss what I'm about to say. Take a listen to that.
But it leads to a bigger issue, and it seems to be somewhat of a disrespecting of Giannis Antetokounmpo. JJ Redick, you might remember a few months ago, had his podcast, had Joel Embiid on, and said Giannis wasn't a top 3 player.
That's just
in
hate.
The league.
That's just hate, man. That's just hate.
The Athletic did a survey of former players after Milwaukee won the championship in 2020. The player said Giannis was the 3rd best guy in the league after a historic finals performance. Historic. You remember how great he was in those finals against Phoenix?
Mm-hmm.
They had Kevin Durant number 1, who Giannis had beaten in the playoffs. LeBron James 2, and then Giannis number 3. I want to ask you, I got a theory, and I talked with Rob G about this, but I want to hear yours. Do you think there's a little bit of a disrespect for Giannis, and why among players?
I do. Number one, Giannis is not from here.
So you think that factors in?
Right? People don't respect Jokic either. But Jokic.
But Luka, although some people, a little subtle hate on you, Luka, too.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the last 4 MVPs aren't, the last 4 years of MVPs, the guys aren't from this country.
Right.
Like NBA, it started here, right? The basketball started here. And so there is a bit of, yeah, he good, but, he didn't grow up in the AAU circuit here. All of these things,
playing in this,
right? All of these things matter when guys are evaluating other guys. The group of guys that are in the NBA now, they grew up together. Like remember when Carmelo and Chris Paul and LeBron and they all
Wade, yeah,
right, like
Banana Boat crew.
But because they've known each other for years, they grew up into this together.
Right.
So this notion that the best players are in the NBA are not from here and grew up in the same circuit that the majority of the players have, that bothers some guys.
Okay.
It does. Whether they want to admit it or not, it's the truth. It's the truth because it's a culture. It's a swag. It's, have you seen the videos
it's a different culture
of the Joker in Serbia? Right after he signed his big deal, have you seen him out there dancing around the fire pit without no shirt on and all that? Like everybody looking at that, like, what is that?
Like this is the best player in the world, or one of them?
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's it. So it stops being about what they're doing on the court and start being about, are they representing this the right way?
Now, I think they nailed it on the head. I think they were right on the money. Now, we have explored this concept a few times on this channel in the past when we're doing these Giannis videos. But now you are hearing another voice in the media say the exact same thing. And I think we need to get into this a little bit further. Here are my thoughts on this matter and what they had to say. If there's any merit to the points that Chris Broussard and Ephraim put forward, then we have some serious problems, folks. We have some very, very serious problems at hand. Number one, it says that some of these guys are unwilling to compete on a global level for their jobs. Period. End of story. Some of these guys are threatened by the fact that they're not just competing with guys in the States anymore. They're now competing for those 450 jobs I believe the NBA has with a global competition pool. They're competing with guys from every corner of the earth. And some of that scares some of these guys, I believe, because they're like, wait a minute. These guys may come in here and take some money. Think about it this way. The position that Giannis is in, the position that Luka is in, the position that Nikola Jokic is in, could have been some dude in the States position, but nevertheless, they have it. And these guys are excelling at the highest level of the sport. The last 4 MVPs came from international players. I want you guys to think about what I'm saying. The last 4. And in last year's MVP race, the top 3 candidates were all foreign players in Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. These are all foreign-born players that can actually play basketball at a very high level. I think that's the first thing. And it's tantamount to us here on YouTube. It's like us here on YouTube. We're an NBA channel, and it's like us saying, all the NBA content that's produced on YouTube should come from channels that are based in the States, because we don't want to compete with foreign channels. I say to hell with that. I say open up the thing for everybody, give everyone a fair opportunity at the same job, and let's see who's the best. Let the audience decide who's the best. Don't be a gatekeeper. Stop trying to be afraid to go against people on an international level, because most of these top companies that you're looking at, some of the most competitive companies, some of the best companies in the world, they're competing on a global level. You think they just have offices in the States? These guys are everywhere. They're everywhere if you want to be at the top, literally. So that's the first aspect. That's the first aspect to this. Secondly, the NBA as an organization is a global brand, and therefore they want to bring in foreign players to expand their reach. Makes a lot of sense, right? When you're trying to expand your product. Look at Formula One, for example. I watch Formula One. Formula One, I believe, only has one American team. Now, why do you think it's important for them to have an American team? All the other teams are Aston Martin, Ferrari, Mercedes-Benz. These are all European teams, right? And then, of course, you have some other like Red Bull, but that's not a thing. Why do you think because they want to expand their audience? Very soon, you're going to see the first American Formula One driver. I don't think there's one really. I may be wrong, but like a prominent one, because they're trying to expand globally. They're trying to reach more people, right? So you got to be forward thinking about this. Thirdly, it exposes, in my personal opinion, an innate level of stupidity and hypocrisy in some of these guys. So basically, certain US-born players want to benefit off of everything that comes with the NBA being a global brand, which is sneaker sales, jersey sales, TV rights to games, merchandise sales, etc. But you better, for not even 1 second, think that you can play in our league. Imagine the level of hypocrisy. You want all of these foreign markets to patronize your product, but you don't want them to have any representation within that same league? Are you freaking, what world are we living in? What universe are we living in? To me, it's beginning to make a lot of sense. Some of the things that Giannis is going through. And if all of what they said is true, that it tells me this. It's not that they fear or hate Giannis. I think they fear and hate what he represents. And that's globalization. That's what Giannis Antetokounmpo really embodies. Globalization. You have a guy like Giannis that comes from a third world background. Talking about Nigeria, I'm not talking about Greece, or just comes from a very harsh background. Let me put it that way to be politically correct here. The guy comes into the NBA. He's given a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, literally a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He gets into the NBA. His first year, he's averaging 6.8 points per game. By his 10th year, he's a 30-point-per-game scorer, double-digit rebounder, shot blocker, steals guy, wins a Defensive Player of the Year, 2 MVPs, made 9 All-First defensive teams, won a Finals MVP, won a championship. How can you not root for a guy like that? How can you not root for a guy like that? Is he exposing something in you? Is Giannis Antetokounmpo like a mirror to some of these guys? Is he a mirror? Are some of you guys looking at him and trying to understand, why would a guy like this want to be in Wisconsin? Why doesn't he want to be in LA? Why doesn't he want to be in Miami? Why doesn't he want to be in New York? Why doesn't he want to be in these big name markets? Why does he want to be, no disrespect, but that's how a lot of these guys are reasoning. Why does he want to be there? Because Giannis has his priorities right. Giannis knows the exact reason that he's in the NBA. And finally, let me say this, because I think is an important comparison that we have to draw here. Can you imagine if Adidas, the German shoemaker, the German brand, had the same mentality as some of these guys? If they did, there would be no Kanye West Yeezys. It took some open-minded, forward-thinking people to make that collaboration a reality. It helped their brand, helped Kanye. The guy's worth between $2 to $9 billion, depending on which source you're reading from. And that's what happens when open-minded people who are unafraid to collaborate with others come together and make things happen. That's what happens. Can you imagine if they had that outlook on things? No. We got to get somebody from Germany, or we got to get somebody from Europe. They were like, no, bring in the most talented guy, the most forward-thinking guy, the hardest working guy that also can help us sell. Let's make the deal. And then you have this, a brand that a lot of people consume. But that only happens when you have open-minded people. So if any of what these guys are saying is true, then it's sad. It really is sad. I don't want to be annexed to people like this. I don't care to understand their perspective on things. The world is big. The world is big. Try to have an open mind.